What did it do?
Real loud. Just killing it. You're embarrassing.
Yeah, I know. You guys, so I have a good cryptid story, so you guys got to give me some time to do it. So let's go quickly on the other shit.
You'd like to get the show going then?
Yes, honestly, I've been sitting here and I keep reading through my notes on Caddy.
I'm going to cut you off with the music.
And the fact that Caddy and
the
Claude are the same.
It is Frightday. This is episode 45. I'm your host, Byron. And tonight...
Quattrociento.
What?
Actually, it's not. It's Quattrocinco.
What are you doing?
I'm counting.
You're cutting in.
Bilingual.
Let Byron do the intro.
And tonight, a modern Western takes a gruesome twist as we review S. Craig Zahler's Bone Tomahawk. But before that, we talk to an absolute legend, as well as a master of modern B cinema. And then we dive deep into a water monster whose name loosely rhymes with Nessie. In this week's edition,
it doesn't.
It kind of loosely does.
What kind of language do you speak?
In this week's
Slant
edition
rhyme.
of Kelly's Cryptids and Conspiracies, I'm joined tonight by Kelly.
Okay, Caddy and Nessie only
And
rhyme in
Sam.
like
Hey,
third
guys.
grade poetry, maybe.
Hey guys, how's it going?
Oh, it's good.
You're a bit saucy.
Or sauced.
Saucy rhymes more with Nessie than Caddy does.
They're all slant rhymes.
I am great. Byron, how are you doing this week?
I'm recovering. I had quite a vacation.
Would you call that a vacation?
Not, absolutely not.
Okay.
It was a horror vacation that got horrific, but not on purpose.
Okay, what was the scariest thing you saw between Seattle and Omaha?
I mean, I guess it was just the fact that I was in a 22-foot Penske truck with two other people and a cat for 3 days.
Jens is a pretty good traveler, though, isn't he?
He's all right, but I'm just saying.
He's a cat, and he was in the cab for 3 days.
Pump the brakes a bit. Last time we talked, people thought we were in Oregon.
Well, because we were.
And I teased a bit of a trip south to a place called Willow Creek.
Did you find Squatch?
I mean, do you want a short answer or a quick answer?
Short answer or a quick
They're
answer?
They're all no. I found no Sasquatch.
Did you get a good burger at least?
Absolutely nothing good happened in Willow Creek.
Oh, that's fantastic.
So I headed south, stopped in Coos Bay, which is a
good little
nice
town.
little seaside town, stayed in a beautiful Motel 6, and watched the first episode of American Horror Story Hotel in a non-smoking room that was obviously smoked in.
Those are the worst.
Pretty good time. It was, actually. I was sipping on a Dr. Pepper Bold and enjoying a little bit of Wes Bentley.
Yeah?
What?
Have you seen American Horror Story Hotel yet?
No, we haven't watched
I'm
it.
still on Dr. Pepper Bold.
Well, come on now. 10 beautiful calories to spice up my night?
Where do I find this?
You've never had...
No, Sam, you're not allowed aspartame. We've discussed this.
Oh my
Stop
God.
it.
I watched episode 1. I'm all about this season. Gaga is great. I don't know.
Okay, I believe you.
I feel like I have to stare at you because of this microphone situation.
No, it's my eyes.
It is your beautiful eyes.
You do have good eyes.
They're already diving into the H.H. Holmes stuff with Evan Peters' character. It might just be because I love the Cecil Hotel.
Yeah.
But I'm 100% sold. I was not into the Freak Show season, but this is rad. I saw episode 2. The party keeps on rolling. Kathy Bates is...
Don't spoil anything, goddammit.
I won't spoil it.
Because I'm very excited about it.
I continue heading south.
Right.
We're headed south.
I arrive in the legendary town of Willow Creek,
Yep.
home of Sasquatch, basically.
Well, yeah.
That's where he lives.
I mean, I think he's migrated since, but yeah.
Well, you know who else was migrating?
Who?
About 100 out-of-work marijuana field hands.
Oh, Jesus.
Why were they out of work?
Well, because it's the end of the
It's not the harvest
season, you
season.
know? They're done.
What is the harvest season?
I have no idea. I'm not a sharecropper of marijuana.
For the purposes of Byron's story, it ended in early October.
Okay, fine.
I showed up about 15 minutes after the Bigfoot Museum closed. That was a big chunk of why I was going there.
Jesus.
I've been
Did
there
you
before.
not check that ahead of time?
I did not.
That's poor trip planning, Byron.
I'm a bit of a dummy.
I'm
I
sorry.
agree. But basically, I was run out of town by hippies.
Hold on, because I can't imagine, are marijuana farm workers,
Lots of
hippies?
patches on their pants.
Patchwork?
Unnecessary patchwork, dirty hands, dirty faces, full
Dreads?
hearts,
Dreads?
lots of dreads, lots of base nectar. They're not like hippie hippies.
Base nectar.
You know, they're base
nectar hippies.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
that's all you need to know.
Gotcha. Yep, that's okay.
So I got the fuck out of there as fast as possible. I spent over a day driving south to Willow Creek when I could have been staying with you lovely folks.
Next time.
Should have been. It was foggy. It was atmospheric.
Stick around and go.
Creepy.
You could have been hunting in the bramble with me.
I
went
sorry.
bramble hunting.
So
again,
yeah, tell me what you guys did for the rest of your vacation.
Well, we still haven't heard about your horrific trip from Seattle to Omaha.
Who cares? It was just a very long, endless drive. I literally have calluses from driving a giant truck. Terrifying.
Yeah, it is. It's very nerve wracking.
Who gives a guy like me a semi truck?
They shouldn't.
It's insanity.
I mean, they shouldn't. They'd give me one too, and that's even scarier.
People talk about things that shouldn't be legal for the average person to do. You shouldn't be able to just walk into a store and drive away with a 22-foot Penske truck.
But I did get to listen to a album. I don't know the exact name, but it's 20 Songs for Truckin', Volume 4. On a loop.
Did Amy find this for you guys?
We grabbed it at a gas station, and we're all pretty into a guy named Slim Jacobs.
Slim Jacobs.
Yeah, maybe
Is Mr. Jacobs the artist who's responsible for the
one of the
songs?
tracks, a highlighted track, which I'll be playing in the background of the rest of this conversation.
Oh, that's great. Can you play Mighty Quinn too?
I'm not doing that.
Okay.
But finish up your seaside vacation for me.
Seaside vacation was great. Lots of fried cheese curds.
You fried them this time.
Well, no. Okay, so I feel really bad about this. I didn't realize that the Tillamook Cheese Factory was doing this now.
What?
But they're selling fried cheese curds. So when we took you there, I didn't know about it.
It was 9 a.m. I don't need fried cheese curds at 9 a.m.
But the thing is, that's what I got for breakfast every time we went there.
Okay, you're a disaster.
Yeah, they're really
We did
good.
make a stop at
I forgot about this.
Okay,
I'm
what is
holding
it?
a flyer.
I didn't want to ask.
It is a flyer for the Haunted School of Garland, Utah. In Garland, Utah. It costs $6 a head.
Did you go?
I did not.
Well, that was dumb.
That's more than a flyer. It's a glossy postcard.
And I just like to read the description on the back real quick.
Okay.
Spooky music. Come if you dare to hear the tale of that one dark day that stole the lives of those doomed little kiddies and teachers and principal that refused to leave amidst the clanking of the pipes and the blood that poured from the rafters above the tunnels below till they were filled with bloody gore, plus more, and those darn damned fools who stayed put to become the ghosts of past who will host your tour. If you will come and join our toast to the dead, yet you may be stranded here, becoming their mates and join their haunting spree, or be eaten tonight at the strike of midnight.
Worst written thing I've ever heard.
That's fucking terrifying.
The punctuation is terrifying? Is that
And
what
the grammar.
Yeah.
Everything
and-
about that was bad.
last sentence says, your safety is not our concern, which I find a bit concerning.
It's kind of
I don't know that I would trust anyone.
that was not me.
Where
That's
did you
all.
pick that up? You would
Garland, Utah.
You actually went through Garland. Okay.
Yeah, I was at a Wendy's there.
I guess-
served by a gentleman named Jess.
How did you not go after reading that?
We were trucking to
We
Slim
had a long
Jacobs.
way to go and a short time to get there.
You
Okay,
get
so
it.
we went to 2 haunted places.
You and I?
No, we did after you left.
did?
We went to the Liberty Theater in Astoria, which unfortunately we couldn't go inside the actual theater. We just went into like the little gift shop and then wandered around
You
outside.
gotta break in.
Well, but it was
It was
middle
broad
of the day.
daylight.
I mean, yeah.
But there was this really
Which is
cool
the best
guy
time.
playing Sublime on the front steps.
Sublime.
Sublime on the front steps.
I know.
Do you say it like that?
I do.
Oof. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't really care because they're a terrible band.
Well, I mean,
Sublime
they don't
makes
exist anymore.
Music.
Did you know 311's from Colorado?
Yeah.
That's weird.
Who cares?
We also went to a place that we talked to you about last time, Oculus Anubis.
You teased this.
Yeah, well, the thing is that I have decided there are some really cool places that Kelly needs to go as a explorer for Kelly's Cryptids and Conspiracies.
As a journalist.
Right, but mostly an adventurer and an explorer.
More of a
A
journalist.
cryptozoologist
Like
explorer.
that guy on that History Channel show with the
Well,
hair.
he doesn't really explore. He just sits in his chair and talks. So I'm going to get out there and I'm going to do a really cool, like Anthony Bourdain meets cryptids, monsters in the world And we're going to have a new
mini-series. It's a mini-series.
Yeah, which is going to be...
Tentatively titled.
Why tentatively?
I don't know, because I might
Don't we like it?
We might come up with something.
Do we like it?
What is it? I don't
Do we
even
like
remember.
it?
Honestly, don't remember. It's just fail-safe, honestly.
Just don't lock yourself into anything.
Captain Kelly's
I disagree.
Eerie Explorations.
I feel like you just put that together.
No, I didn't. I was actually trying to remember.
Oh, it just
Captain
seems like
Kelly's
something the person
Eerie
just put together in
Explorations.
2 seconds.
Or Terrifying Travels.
Sure.
Or Creepy
Camp out.
Crawlings.
Ooh, it could end in a camp out at the end every time.
So, but what I want to do is talk about these very cool places you can go to explore cryptids, conspiracies, ghosts, etc. But
Garland,
then
Utah.
also tell you really good places to eat food nearby and really good places to stay. So, like, you can actually go and have a nice little adventure. The first place that we're going to talk about in our first episode is going to be Oculus Anubis in Damascus, Oregon.
Did you have interviews with these people?
No, they were very scary, but I'll talk
Sure.
about that later.
Okay, so we're actually...
We have pictures. I was there. I tried to leave a pin on one of the statues out front. Sam wouldn't let me.
So we're pulling the trigger on this.
Expect to be amazed and to have great travel ideas for adventuring souls like me.
Fun.
Yeah.
Can't wait.
Woo.
Sam, what have you been up to?
Who cares? Let's talk about Caddy.
Okay, well, before we talk about Caddy, I just want to say we mentioned a bit of a legend. Not a legend of the supernatural,
Well, I mean,
but
a little
legend of the real
supernatural.
a
kind.
legend of the cinematic nature.
Yes.
Sam, this week you had the opportunity to talk to a gentleman named Sig Haid.
I did the opportunity and the honor. I talked to him about Bone Tomahawk, which he stars in. It was...
You're crying now.
I had a hard time holding it together.
Your eyes are sweating.
Yeah, my eyeballs are hot.
All right.
It was a super cool opportunity. He was a really, really genuinely nice guy. I hope we didn't sound like the idiot I felt like.
Oh, you sounded great, buddy. And we're going to listen to that interview later in the show.
Yeah.
But before then, we're going to figure out what this Caddy guy's all about in this week's edition of Kelly's Cryptids and Conspiracies.
Kelly's Cryptids and Conspiracies.
While we were in Oregon, I did some reading on local legends, especially local cryptids. Actually, quite a few out there. But the one that interested me the most...
I was just going to make sure that you're a little bit more sane than you were last time I saw
Well, I mean,
you.
I'm not. I was actually just eating some of my blackberry jam on some ice cream,
Yeah.
and it was really good.
Flashbacks.
She's recovered from her raccoon encounter.
It was not a raccoon.
Okay.
God damn it, Sam. Freaking naysaying Nelly.
Nessie.
I'm not going to insult somebody. He doesn't deserve to be called Nessie. One of the best cryptids out in the Oregon neck of the woods is actually a cryptid that extends along the seashore from Monterey Bay all the way up to Alaska. So this is a traveling sea serpent
Okay.
by the name of Caddy. Gets its name from Cadborosaurus Bay in Victoria, British Columbia. I don't know if you've ever been there. Real beautiful place. So I can understand Caddy hanging out there. It is very similar to the Loch Ness Monster in the sense that it's rumored to be a type of dinosaur or prehistoric creature that somehow managed to survive extinction phases and is still occupying some very deep water along the Pacific coastline.
Rad.
Yeah, very cool, actually. In fact, in one of the towns on the Oregon coast, there is a statue that pays homage, and people have reported seeing it for the last 1,000 years. There have been sightings up the Columbia River even, formerly known as a completely separate creature, Claude, which is also a fabulous name. But now they're thinking that Claude and Caddy might be one and the same.
They really think it's just one monster.
Well, no, they don't, because actually, some of the sightings have been of pods of these creatures.
So like whales that migrate in the exact same
right,
range
except if
and
you see
area.
the pictures, in fact, there's a video that
Is this video going to be on Frightday.com?
of course it is. I already sent you the link for it.
Good.
Stay on top of it, Byron.
I'm sorry.
Okay, all right. Well, you know.
I'm on trucker pills.
Oh, don't do that.
I'm
Please don't do
sorry.
that.
I'm on it.
Please don't do that.
This is how I am.
Okay, so just a little bit of history. There was a very creepy recovery of a creature, probably some of the most scientific evidence ever that we had access to, and then the carcass disappeared. But back in the 30s... Ooh, what you looking at there, B?
Well, they're calling it a swimming dragon.
Okay, well, so 1937, whaling ship in the Queen Charlotte Islands. Again, this is British Columbia. found a strange animal in the stomach of a sperm whale. The creature was about 10 feet long with a camel-like head and oddly shaped fins. Okay. Back in this time, the station manager, F.S. Hubbard, so this is actually an excerpt from an article in the newspaper at the time. The acting medical officer took photographs of the animal and dispatched?
Dispatched?
No, dispatched.
Ooh, new word?
Sam, what does that mean? Dispatched tissue samples? I think maybe
Scrape
it's just
them
a typo.
off. I think it's a fancy word for scraping something
like
off.
it was a typo.
Just dug right in there and got a big mouthful of it.
Okay, took photographs of the animal and dispatched tissue samples taken from the remains to Fisheries Station in Nanaimo and to the Provincial Museum in Victoria for analysis. Tragically, the tissue samples sent to Nanaimo vanished, and the samples sent to Victoria were wrongly identified by curator Francis Kermode as belonging to a fetal baleen whale, and no one knows what happened to them after Kermode examined them.
Wait, why are they saying wrongly?
Because apparently it wasn't, and very clearly from the carcass it wasn't. So the only tangible proof of the existence of the heretofore previously legendary animals was lost forever. However, 2 sets of photographs were discovered by Captain William Hegeland, who published a selection in his book Whalers No More, and also by Paul LeBlond, who included them in his book Cadborosaurus, Survivor of the Deep. The samples and photographs, which were sent to the Provincial Museum in Victoria and erroneously identified by Kermode, bothered a living witness to the Naden Harbor creature still alive today. James Wakeelan has told the BCSCC, which is a newspaper, I believe, that there is no way that the creature he and others removed was a fetal baleen whale. He is adamant to this day that what he saw was an unknown creature, the likes of which he has not seen before or since in any book or film.
Do you know who else was adamant?
Who?
Gimlin?
Yeah, well,
to his death.
Yeah, I know. He was.
It's been a while since I naysayed something.
I know.
I've been playing along for a while.
Well, so what's interesting about this, that who the hell knows what it is? But this is one of those things, and I think you guys have to agree with me. When it gets to these sea or lake creatures, they could be something completely normal.
Floating garbage.
I mean, there are a lot of
Gas
possible
bubbles.
applications. No, that's not what I'm talking about. There are possible.
Seaweed?
They're obviously not seaweed. Will you load up the video that I just sent you?
You want me to watch it now?
I want you to watch the video.
In the middle of the show?
Yes, I want you to watch the video while I'm talking.
That's not very professional.
Okay? We can also put up these photographs.
Oh, I will.
But there are people who say that they've caught baby caddies and released them back. This video purports to show about 10 of them. It's pretty interesting. I mean, it's something. It could be an oarfish. It could be something that's highly explainable. Who knows?
Okay.
Yep.
Is that the one you wanted me to watch?
Yep, that is.
I mean, with Halloween right around the corner.
Yeah, but... okay.
Are you familiar with those 2-man horse costumes?
God damn it, Byron. That's obviously not what it is.
Hold tight. I'm thinking a couple sea lions get together
Byron.
in some sort of human centipede-esque costume.
They're punking us.
Byron.
What?
You stop it.
That's my theory. So.
That's as
But
likely
people,
as
what's
anything.
interesting about this, and this is the same report that people have noted about the creature that was seen up the Columbia River, which for those of you not familiar with the geography of this region, the Columbia River empties into the Pacific Ocean. So there's a lot in terms of exchange of creatures between the two bodies of water. And it would make sense that if there was something swimming around on that coast, it could take a turn and go up the Columbia.
How fun would it be to watch those spawn upriver?
Well,
would be
so here's, truthfully though, the sightings are very consistent that it appears to have the head of a camel or horse.
So,
and that people talk about the head being giant and the eyes being absolutely huge. Apparently, and I have not yet found this video, I need to dig it up so that we can put it on. Shell Oil Company started drilling in the 60s off the coast of Oregon, and they found a video from underwater footage that they were taking of a very mysterious creature flopping around way, way, way deep underwater. That was also said to be Claude/Caddy.
I don't think it's fair. I don't think it's fair that Caddy gets to claim the entire ocean.
Well, let's just be honest that if it's a Cadborosaurus, it's a better name than Claude. I mean, I love Claude as a name.
Cadborosauruses. We're assuming
but that's what Caddy's short
but when
for.
we say Nessie, we're talking about one Nessie for the most part.
No. Nessie has family.
Well, but that's what you're saying. That's what I'm saying.
I have a family picture of Nessie hanging up in our nursery.
You just said Nessie has family. You wouldn't say Caddy has family. You'd say
Caddy has family.
Okay.
I just said it.
These small lake monsters get just a lake, and Caddy gets the fucking West Coast?
Where's Caddy? Oh, from fucking Argentina all the way to
Alaska.
Yeah, the
How is
North
that
Pole.
fair? How's that fair?
Well, the point is, the creature is probably a Cadborosaurus.
Okay.
And there are apparently many of them.
Sure.
Okay.
Sea camels.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, it's interesting because, again, there are no mean stories about this creature. It seems to be a pretty friendly sort.
It's weird
Super
'cause It
nice.
probably doesn't exist, right?
Well, it does exist. Look at these pictures and look at these videos. There's something.
So
Clearly, it's something. And literally, there have been no fewer than 300 sightings in the last 2 centuries.
there is a picture that makes it look a lot like a swimming moose.
Yeah. Are we looking at this black and white picture of it
Yes,
sitting on these crates?
that's the one that came out of the whale's belly. Right there. That's what you're looking at.
So it could be anything, honestly.
Well, because it's dead and
It
it's,
could be a
that's what I'm
big
saying.
wad of
it's
seaweed.
digested.
Its ribs could be gone. It could be some...
Well, yeah, it could be something, but
I mean,
it has a camel
you
head.
have to consider that a whale doesn't have access to the body
Yeah,
of a
and
camel.
I don't buy that shit about whales being vegetarians or whatever. A fucking whale can eat whatever it wants
Okay.
to.
What if a ship dumped a camel's body into the water and a whale got it?
That's almost certainly the explanation.
Cracked it wide
Okay.
open.
So-
This is a Byron
Busted.
exclusive.
So, Sam, interestingly enough, a lot of the places that we're familiar with on the coast that we like to go have reported sightings of this creature. From Nelscott to Bandon to
That's where my
Newport.
sister got engaged.
Really? Oh. Oarfish, paddlefish, certain types of sea lions swimming in packs. All of these are possible explanations. However, some of the witness accounts have been, on one day, 12 different people see it. They're all reporting the exact same thing from lots of different angles, which tends to discredit the idea that they're individual sea lions just swimming in unison.
Sea lion centipede.
Really?
Yes.
Really?
Maybe.
No.
Okay.
Nobody would do that to sea lions. They're so cute. One of the descriptions of Claude, his head was like a camel's, his fur was coarse and gray, he had glassy eyes and a bent snout that he used to push a 20-pound halibut off our lines and into his mouth.
I was behind that guy at the grocery store.
Point is, really friendly creature out there. I can't wait to do some more exploring, and next time that we're out there, perhaps it will be season, because actually the most sightings occur between October and April. And so we were there for like the very beginning of the season. And in fact, one day we were driving up the coast right along the ocean, and I pointed out the window. I said, Sam, look! And there was this hump coming out of the water.
I didn't look because I was driving.
And we pulled over and it turned out it was just whales, which was actually pretty cool.
That's pretty cool.
It was pretty cool, but I was kind of hoping it was Caddy.
It is weird that October to April that the dates match up precisely with
Well, they're
whales.
probably buddies, wouldn't you guess?
No.
Well,
No.
clearly, okay, if one of the whales ate one of them and they had to dig one of them out of their stomach, clearly they're like traveling in the same neck of the woods.
Opposite of buddies. Buddies don't eat buddies.
Well,
Yeah.
I mean, sometimes they do. Donner Pass,
Jeffrey Dahmer. He liked all those guys.
Yeah. He ate all his buddies.
Yeah. I mean, I guess.
Guess you're right.
So it could be that whales are just cannibals.
Nope, still different species.
Different species?
Sure.
Yeah, whales are a real species.
Oh, but they're eating a different species.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, but I guess that's true. So what would that be like? Would that be like if
Like
we,
just normal carnivorism.
if we ate
carnivorism?
dogs?
It'd be like a wolf eating a deer.
No,
Or
it wouldn't.
A leopard
No, it
eating a
wouldn't.
gazelle.
No, it wouldn't. I think it's still cannibalism
Or a goldfish eating a
because
snake.
they're pretty close. Sorry, the point is really cool. Check out Caddy if you're over there. Any listeners who may have seen, because it does cover a pretty wide area there, all the way down to
All of it.
San Fran, all the way up to Alaska. Any of you people, you seen anything in the ocean? You see anything along the Columbia? Give
Most
us
likely
a-
garbage.
Pictures or it didn't happen.
Fine,
That's
I'll
not
take
true.
pictures.
Hey,
All the
listeners, pictures are great, but I believe you regardless. We have some trustworthy listeners, and I would love to hear any of your stories about Caddy
And this has been
or Claude.
Kelly's Cryptids and Conspiracies this week.
Bam.
The time has come, Sam. Let's hear from one of your heroes.
Did you know that he's
getting a little
really into
misty.
animals, and he's really sweet to animals? He's also these great pictures with kitty cats. He's a nice fellow.
Here's our interview with Sig Haid.
Sid, how are you doing?
Okay, Sam, how's it going?
Pretty good. Just have to say that we here at Frightday are huge fans, and there was a little bit of a Donnybrook in the studio earlier over who was going to get to talk to you, but I fight a lot dirtier, so you get to talk to me.
All right.
What can you tell us about a kindly old gentleman named Buddy?
Well, he's not so kind.
That becomes clear very quickly.
He's what you might call opportunist. He wants something, he feels that he needs, he just goes and gets it. You happen to be in his way, well, he gets what he wants and doesn't care how he gets it. Anything more than that would just be like a spoiler.
Absolutely. I was kind of hoping you would you would know where to stop, because I don't want to give anything away. How did you get involved with Bone Tomahawk?
Well, it was offered to me, which I was surprised for, considering I read the script and it was so intelligently written. It's such a good storyline, and it all progressed the way a story should. Not a lot of super subplots and subplots on subplots and just silly things happening. It was all just very well put together, and it followed a logical progression. With the cast that was already involved, I just said, well, I have to do this.
We had a chance to visit with Mr. Zahler a couple days ago, and he said, and I completely agree with him after watching this movie, that it's not a horror movie.
No, not really. It's a Western in which horrible things happen.
On the Western front, I mean, I think our listeners and readers are well versed with your history in horror, because frankly, we don't really ever shut up about you. But what were some of the influences you drew from maybe in the Western genre for this movie?
Well, as a Western, I think it was presented properly. You got the feel of the time period. The dialogue fit. The dialogue wasn't modernized like most Westerns are. And everything about it just reeked of Western life and that full survival thing.
You could smell the horse sweat. I actually really found myself dusting myself off at points in the movie. Yeah.
It had that grit to it, which is what you need in a Western.
It really did. And you played opposite of another veteran of horror, as well as another cannibal Western, David Arquette.
That was a lot of fun. He and I had a good time together. We very quickly kind of established the relationship between the two characters, which was kind of easy to do because I guess we both had the same mindset. So that experience, coupled with how I felt about the script and everything else and the way that it was being done and the whole look of it, just enhanced everything.
And are there any specific Western films? You kind of grew up in the heyday of the Odors. Are there any specific Westerns that you drew from for your performance?
No, I didn't really draw from any particular Westerns in terms of what I chose to do as an actor. But I can say that, I just had the feel of some of the older, really good stuff, like Once Upon a Time in the Old West, and things like that. I don't know. It was just such a great experience all the way around.
Buddy and Purvis, without saying too much about them, they were so much fun to watch, and it's really gratifying to hear that you had that kind of a relationship with David Arquette on set.
And we were, jawing back and forth at one another and coming up with crazy stuff. And it was just a lot of fun. Yeah, to have fun doing stuff, it's easier to do.
Yeah, it's almost like it's not work.
Yeah.
Speaking of work, you went into semi-retirement a while back with the idea that you were kind of tired of being typecast and playing heavies. How does Buddy kind of fulfill or not fulfill your goal to step away from those type of roles?
Okay, as uneducated, let's say, and as gross, socially gross as he is, there was also the intelligence there, and it wasn't just some guy running around killing people, there was a purpose to everything that he was doing. That's the one thing that I really liked about the character.
I will say that he was a very multidimensional character which was a little unexpected to me. It feels weird to like somebody like Buddy.
Yeah.
Of course, it felt weird to like somebody like Captain Spaulding also.
Yeah.
It looks like you have some other projects in the work as well.
Yes, I have a film in post-production right now called High on the Hog, which is basically a group of people coming together as family, quite by accident. I play a guy who owns a farm and find these women that have been really abused in one way or another, and I take them in, and we become family and operate as one, and help one another out times of need, until, you know, at the end of the film, everything kind of turns bad. We're still there for one another, but just bad things happen.
That sounds fantastic. Sid, is there anything else you'd like our readers to know? Anything you'd like to plug?
Another film that is it's in production right now. It's going to take a while to do, but in a film called Abruptio, which is unique in that they are using life-size marionettes to be the images. All of the actors are doing, of course, voiceovers, but it's a very interesting idea and has a very cool look to it.
Oh, that sounds fascinating. I can't wait to see that. Any idea when that is going to be in theaters?
I have no idea, because that kind of stuff really takes a long time to do.
Sure. Well, Sid, again, I can't tell you what an honor it's been to talk to you today, and I really appreciate your time. I know talking to press all day gets old, so thank you so much for bearing with us. I really appreciate it.
All right, thank you.
And we love the movie. Best of luck in all your endeavors.
All right, thanks a lot. And I really appreciate it, man.
Take care, brother.
That was really cool. I'm very happy for my husband that he got to talk with somebody he's admired for so long, and personally happy to have such a positive, friendly gentleman speaking to my husband about horror. This guy loves kitty cats. He's a sweetheart. He's a total sweetheart.
For a heavy, he's a softie, for sure.
Yeah.
Thanks to Sid for his time.
What do you say we talk about a movie that he was in called Bone Tomahawk?
Let's do it.
Dude.
We hope you're enjoying your visit here this evening. Now, on with the show.
Bone Tomahawk is an American Western horror directed and written by S. Craig Zahler, starring Kurt Russell, Patrick Wilson, Matthew Fox, Richard Jenkins, Lily Simmons, David Arquette, Sid Haig, and Sean Young. Sam, would you want to tell us what this movie's all about?
In Bone Tomahawk, 4 men set out in the Wild West to rescue a group of captives from cannibalistic cave dwellers.
That's all you need.
That's it.
Short and sweet.
Yeah, I love it. I love the synopsis that they give us, because anything more than that, I think, would really give away some important things.
Speaking of which, we kind of have to be careful, guys, because this is one of those movies that everybody should enjoy, and I don't want to take any of that enjoyment away.
I won't take any enjoyment away.
I want to ruin everyone's enjoyment of everything.
Sam, gosh darn it, man.
Yeah, stop.
Call me the ruiner.
I know very, very little about Westerns, and shamefully, Kurt Russell.
That is shameful, because he's done a lot of horror, Byron.
I know. I saw the thing.
It's not your era. It's not your era of horror.
So I'm going to be leaning on you guys quite a bit during this review. Kelly, what are your thoughts on the movie?
Whew. So I grew up on a lot of Western movies and am a pretty big fan. Tombstone. I don't know anybody who doesn't like that movie.
I never saw it.
God, you're a freak.
Bad guy.
I know. You just need to watch it. This was very entertaining for me. We should talk about the fact that it is distinctly not horror by the consideration of the director. It is, however, very horrific in many ways. But the thing about it is, it actually carries an incredibly good storyline with great acting, completely separate from any horrific elements. My favorite character was Chicory, played by Richard Jenkins. Absolutely adorable and hilarious and one of the most endearing movie characters I've watched in a really long time.
Is it wrong that I found him completely unrecognizable? Did you have trouble with that too?
No, I knew exactly who he was.
I mean, I knew who he was,
Sure.
but I totally forgot after the first 5
I
minutes.
see what you guys mean.
Yeah. I was watching Cabin in the Woods tonight, and I came here and you told me that was him, and I was like, holy fuck.
Yeah, he's a great actor. I think he's one of those, he's been a character actor for so long, I think he flies under the radar, but he does a damn good job.
Absolutely.
I also really I thought Matthew Fox playing
He's back.
Brooder, I think he was amazing.
I love a good Matthew Fox. I've been missing him.
I mean, Patrick Wilson and Kurt Russell. I mean, he was out of the game for a long time. What was it, after Grindhouse? That was kind of when he...
Yeah.
Is that really the last
Yeah,
time?
it's been 7 years. And
He had a big hip injury, apparently, that it
Really?
took him a really long time to recover from. And then he got into winemaking. But this movie, the story was...
I just imagine he's got a sack of peaches in a garbage bag on his heater, and he's just making Pruno.
My theory, is he took some time off, grew all his hair out, and then they're like, we got a fucking canvas here. They shave him up to have an amazing mustache beard combo. And they're like, let's do a couple Westerns. We got the Hateful Eight.
Yep.
And I mean, while he's at it, why not do this really fun genre pack? Let's call it that.
I mean, there were parts where I actually watched Sam flinch, which is weird to see.
Honestly, I think all the actors did great. There's no weak point in this entire cast. The dialogue was so sharp.
Well,
So good.
That's what drew Kurt Russell to this movie. This movie, I mean, had a budget of $1.8 million.
Really?
Which is tiny to
Yeah.
get
For
those
that
names.
cast, too.
Kurt
yeah.
Russell
Wait, that
was
cast?
sold on the dialogue. Yeah, and we actually had an interview with the director. I have an article up on Frightday.com. S. Craig Zahler said that, it was the dialogue got Kurt Russell, and then things kind of went from there. Jenkins and Fox and Wilson were just like, holy shit, we get a chance to be in a Western with Kurt Russell. We'll work for free.
I guess you sent me the whole interview. I didn't have the time to listen to it. Was he the first person who signed on to the movie, Kurt Russell?
Yeah, and basically is the reason the movie got made. He believed in it.
And this was the first film by S. Craig.
Yes, It was his first film as a director. He wrote Asylum Blackout.
Which is a movie I saw.
Great.
Yeah.
I have not.
I haven't seen it either.
He's actually a novelist who has a couple of dark Western novels that are in the same vein as Bone Tomahawk. Wraiths of the Broken Land and A Congregation of Jackals. But this was his first time directing, and evidently Kurt Russell was a little nervous about...
Who wouldn't be?
Yeah, exactly. About going back to work for someone with no directorial experience. But he, like I said, just loved the script, loved the dialogue, and committed to it. And basically his advocacy got the movie made is what it sounds like.
And this felt like such a quality film. Like Byron said, the dialogue alone, it's one of the best scripts I have watched on screen in a very,
For
very
sure.
long time.
It sets it apart from, honestly, a lot of the stuff we've seen this year. And I'm not one of the guys that trashes horror
Right.
scripts.
Oh, God, no.
But they don't necessarily need to be this good to be good movies. And that's unfortunate because honestly, I'd love to see movies
with scripts like this.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it was great.
With scripts and cinematography and costumes. And
And the chemistry between the actors and the timing, they're all so good that it pulled a great script into a really wonderful product, I think.
It would be impossible to get a bad movie with this cast.
you could throw shit at paper and it'd be incredible.
I can't tell if that's a bad thing to say or not.
That probably
Well,
is.
I don't know. You know what's interesting, though? Like, apparently the intern or the internship, I can't remember what it's called.
I think it's The Intern.
It's got an amazing cast. It apparently is one of the worst movies ever made.
That's true. You got De Niro.
You've got to have something good to work with. You've got to have some good bones there. And this has, no pun intended, some excellent bones.
Boom. Can we talk about the bones? Let's get into the horror part.
Yeah.
Let's crack past the fact that this is a beautiful movie and it's a well-written movie, but it has some of the most unflinching violence I've seen in so long.
Holy shit, it is gruesome.
Especially the first, like the upside down.
Oh, you're talking about the upside down. You guys are in for a treat.
Suddenly, I just watched Sam and he went, oh.
For someone who's used to, if all you watch is 80-minute slashers, stick with this movie. First of all, I think it will probably make you smarter.
Absolutely.
And second of all, you will be rewarded in a huge way.
Yes.
I can't, I mean, it's hard to say anything more without giving away more than you would want to.
Sure. I mean, everyone knows this is a cannibal Western.
Yeah.
Just keep that in mind. The arrows that fly, they hit and nothing moves. You know, the camera doesn't move. The way that these injuries happen, usually in a horror film, they'd be sliding into it or zooming in or like changing your angles or like spraying blood or going
and the
to a
person
reaction.
who hits flies 10 feet back.
Yeah, this is not that movie. This is very realistic. I mean, I've never seen a man shot with an arrow, but...
Oh, you got to come hang out with me sometime.
Yeah? All right. We'll talk about that later.
Jeez.
But yeah, incredible. It shocked me, and I don't shock easily.
No. Yeah. No joke.
I mean, come on. Let's lay off.
No
me.
joke.
Zahler did an incredible job of keeping the feel of the movie the same throughout, whether it's, in his words, you know, it's just some mundane conversation. It's kind of a documentary character building moment between two of the stars, or just incredibly terrible, awful, bloody violence. It's the same. It's just happening, and we're just there for it. They're guys in a desert, and shit goes badly for them.
It's bad.
Real bad.
Ugh.
But I mean, even the shots, it was beautiful. It was.
If you told me that this was a Quentin Tarantino film, I wouldn't really second guess that.
You know why I would?
Why?
The dialogue was incredible.
Come on.
I love
I'm with
Tarantino.
Kelly.
Come on.
No, I'm a huge Tarantino fan, but his dialogue it's grown on me, but it's definitely a brand of its own because it's horrible but entertaining. This was genuinely perfected dialogue.
I'll let
The
that
dialogue
slide.
in Grindhouse made me want to jump out a goddamn window.
Grindhouse is Grindhouse for a reason, though. That's a bad example.
Even the dialogue in Reservoir Dogs, which is one of my favorite
But that's
movies.
one of his early movies.
Let's not get into
The point is, it's funny.
critique
It's not
of
realistic.
Tarantino.
Go to Inglourious Bastards, though.
Even
had
that,
that tension. It also had these light, funny moments, like the dark comedy that peeks through in this
Yeah.
movie. It is very
Yeah.
well executed. I guess maybe Quentin Tarantino is a bad example, but
I know what you're saying, though. You're saying like a top shelf established director.
visually, though, it has these really wide, beautiful shots. It's
Maybe I would go with maybe like Django style. It felt a little Django style,
but
Tarantino.
minus the over the top violence.
Yes.
Right, like it was more, I guess, artistically less comic book shot.
Sure.
Yeah.
Something else I didn't know about Mr. Zahler going into the interview, which I wish I would have. He is a black metal musician.
What?
Yeah.
You gotta be kidding
And
me.
he didn't.
He
Oh,
records
that's so
as
sad.
Czar.
Can this guy be our friend?
That's what I said.
Are you
I think he's
kidding
too cool
me?
for us.
Ah, god damn it.
That is really cool. That's really cool. Can I start with ratings?
Yeah, I mean,
Are we going to do a spoiler? We aren't going to do.
No spoilers.
This
no
movie's
spoilers.
available right now.
Yeah, it just came out.
Is it VOD?
VOD?
VOD and limited release. If you can see it on a screen,
See it in a
please go
theater.
see it on a screen because it is very, very
Gorgeous.
well
Yeah.
set.
You're
for
gonna witness the return of an absolute legend, Kurt Russell, a newer fantastic actor, Matthew Fox, his return as well, and
Patrick Wilson in a completely different role.
and Richard Jenkins in the most endearing sidekick role ever.
And you're on the ground floor of S. Craig Zahler's career because I would wager the house that he's going to do some awesome things after this too.
Totally agree.
David Arquette's back too.
David Arquette is back.
I
as
love
well.
David Arquette.
Everybody loves David Arquette. Are you fucking kidding me?
Yeah.
The funny thing
it's
is,
fine.
this isn't even the first cannibal western that he did.
Really?
Yeah.
What was that?
Ravenous.
Oh, I never saw Ravenous.
You should.
I'll check it
Yeah,
out.
I forgot about that. So I get to start, right?
Sure.
8-9.
Well, for what reasons?
This movie was one of the best movies I have had the pleasure of watching as part of this podcast. Amazing acting. I so value a great script and incredible dialogue. I mean, it was beautiful to watch. It was wonderful to listen to. I felt genuinely for the characters, like I said, especially Jenkins. I'm going to be honest, some of the violence was a little much for me.
Sure.
I mean, you know me, but it was so well executed. And like Sam said, I mean, these are all legends. Executed. Yeah, exactly. It was just really, really fun. And it brought me back to the first time that I saw Tombstone, but also to the first time I saw The Hills Have Eyes. So it was a really wonderful experience where I felt like I got to watch. I see this movie actually being genuinely in full film universe reviewed as a very, very top of the mark movie for this year. And I think it's very cool that it's getting some recognition as at least a cousin in the horror genre.
I'm going to go 8.0 on this one. It's got Jack Burton, Snake Plissken, Wyatt Earp, his motherfucking self, and I would watch Kurt Russell in anything, but this isn't just anything. This is a script that is absolutely to die for. It's shot beautifully. The cinematography is fantastic. The music is almost non-existent, but very effective where it's used. Sound design, absolutely perfect. Not very often do I find myself in agreement with the major press critics on horror movies. And while this is probably not a traditional horror movie, I think that the New York Times got it right on this one. Some of the other people who may not get horror got this movie. I'm going to be raving about this movie for a long time to come.
Mm-hmm.
I give it a 7.8. I'm a guy that doesn't necessarily like Westerns, but this was a near perfect film in that genre. Everything on the screen was perfect. The pace was great, and the payoff was well worth it. I love it. I'm all about it.
Do not miss this one. And if you are lucky enough to have it playing on a screen near you because you don't live in a remote part of this country like Montana, please take advantage for our sake.
Did you know a man almost got eaten by a bear a couple weeks ago? And he reached his hand down the bear's throat, and the bear ran away.
Good to know.
Yeah. In Great Falls, your favorite place.
Counterintuitive. Yeah.
I feel like my bear reaction, in spite of everything I've ever been taught, would be to scream like a little girl and run.
And this has been our review of Bone Tomahawk.
Such a good time.
If you saw this movie, let us know what you thought. Tweet us at Frightday. I'd love to hear it. I want everyone to see this, so I expect everyone listening to tweet at us.
And I would love a discussion about it.
So where do we go from here?
I mean, movie-wise, I don't know. This is a tough one to beat. But
well, actually, it's time for a segment
yeah,
called Evie, please.
no.
I mean, we're going to keep this really quick. What do you want to ask a ghost? Make this easy for us. Tweet us at Frightday.
Oh, I have a question.
Know.
I have a question.
Sure, okay. I'd like to call upon any available spirits in the vicinity just for a quick, brief moment. I know you're busy reliving your life on a constant loop. Kelly?
So because, and we've talked about this before, where we live was definitely an area occupied by many Native Americans, American Indians over the past centuries. I would like to know if there were any violent occurrences on this property in the history of this neck of the woods.
Swinging for the fences.
Well, I mean, like
Cannibalism in particular.
Cannibalism in particular.
Okay.
But in the spirit of Bone Tomahawk, anything along those lines that happened in a, let's say 1 mile radius of the spot we stand right now.
So let's give him a second to answer.
Please say no, please say no, please say no.
Thank you so much for your time, as always.
Oh, yeah, you bet.
I wasn't thanking you,
know.
for sure.
I know.
So,
It's almost Halloween, isn't it?
it is almost
It
Halloween.
is.
And in celebration of Halloween, next week we're going to be reviewing a horror anthology called Tales of Halloween, which is 10 stories woven together by a shared theme of Halloween night in an American suburb, where ghouls, imps, aliens, axe murderers appear for one night only to terrorize unsuspecting residents. In preparation for our review of that movie, I'd like to play an interview that I had with Mike Mendez, one of the directors of Tales of Halloween.
Awesome. Thanks for taking the time to talk to me today, Mike.
I just finished Tales of Halloween and I had so much fun.
Oh, great. Oh, happy to hear that.
Yeah, it definitely got me in the Halloween spirit. As a executive producer, could you share a little bit about the Tales of Halloween project?
Sure. Tales of Halloween is basically a collective of filmmakers who are real-life friends in Los Angeles that sort of got together figuring, hey, let's try to do a project as a group that kind of encompasses the entire LA horror film community, or as much of it as that we could possibly cover in one film. Axel Carolyn was the one who initially had the idea, and then she brought on Neil Marshall, and we just kind of went from there. I brought on Epic Pictures and we decided to just sort of like, hey, let's have fun with this. Let's just sort of make a horror movie that's sort of artist-driven. And that's kind of how it came out, sort of a weird snowball of excitement that was born out of a love for the genre and a love for the holiday.
And the production of this actually happened rather rapidly. Could you elaborate on that?
Well, from the point that it was an idea to the point that it was greenlit was about a week.
Oh, wow.
Which that has never happened before. Yeah, totally. Axel came up with it, and then I just pitched it to Epic Pictures, and then we met the following week, and they said, look, we're really interested in doing this. We'd like to make it happen. Honestly, I think the longest period was just getting the paperwork together to get everybody on board to make it happen, and the screenwriting of it, but from that point, we was just sort of like, we just kind of hit the ground running. And quickly assembled, nothing was written. There was no screenplay. So we had to quickly, we sort of approached them with like, this is the basic concept. It's an anthology about Halloween. These are the filmmakers that we want to use. And they said, okay. And then we had, at that point, had to deliver a film. And I kind of took on a lot more than I bargained for, because, connecting the finance and knowing all the filmmakers and, taking part in bringing them on, I ended up being one of the producers that had to see this from start to finish, and then along with Axel, Carolyn was responsible for delivering a finished film. So it was a 1.5 year process that wasn't quite expecting, but a pretty crazy and worthwhile trip. So.
For sure. And after everything was rolling, were there any rules or constraints that were given to the writers of each segment?
Yeah, I mean, the basic rules were that it has to be on Halloween night, and basically something about Halloween, that kind of encapsulated the spirit of it. It had to be in the same town on the same night, and we encouraged people to kind of read the other scripts and see if there was places that they could link over or cross. The other rule is that, we wanted it to be not found footage, and that we wanted it to all have kind of a uniform style and look and all kind of fit in the same world. So we all shot it with the same camera, with the same equipment, and largely the same crew in one big block in 4 weeks, as opposed to other anthologies that kind of go off throughout the year, and people go off and do it separately. This was one big show to kind of give a certain uniformity to it. The other rule was, and this kind of counts more as quality control, was you were free to do whatever you wanted, but you weren't free to suck. All the other filmmakers would read each other's scripts and comment and give notes, and at least on my end, I would say it's like, look, if you're lucky enough to have someone that you respect, like Neil Marshall or Darren Bousman or Lucky McKee, give you notes, it's something that you might want to at least consider, and certainly if certain notes were coming up frequently, then that might be something that, we'd really go, hey, you might want to look at that. You might want to really think about that, so that was sort of the goal, and that's sort of, what we tried to do. And, so that was basically the parameters. But other than that, you were free to do, what you wanted and make your, we very much encouraged filmmakers to use their voice and make their vision and make their films that they would have final cuts of, and they would, and it would be their films. Of course we would give notes and stuff like that, but they were optional, to do with, if they saw fit and made the shorts better, it was up to them if they wanted to incorporate them or not. So it was a balance, it was a balance of creating something unified, but also encouraging the filmmakers to make their films.
I have to say, I love the no found footage rule. Was there a reason for that other than just making it one cohesive piece?
I mean, at least for us, it was just, at least I can only speak personally. It's like, I'm just tired of that format. I
Sure.
think it was fine. And I think, VHS did it and they did it very well. So I didn't want to, we didn't want to, I felt that when that territory was covered, we wanted to make our own unique thing. So, we love cinema, we love, and everyone wanted to make it 2:3:5, aspect ratio, and so that it would feel more like a cinematic experience, and so I think all those those reasons kind of played into it, that we wanted it to play more as a straight narrative film, you know.
Absolutely.
So, you know.
Your segment, Friday the 31st, in my opinion, was the most fun and lighthearted segment.
Excellent. Cool.
Yeah. Aside from the more obvious influences, how'd you come up with the idea?
The idea was actually originated about 17 years ago or so. Dave Parker and I wrote a script called Dead Stuff. And it was always a film that I've always wanted to make, and I just haven't been able to get it made. It was always too weird or too gory or too funny, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And so, but I've always loved it. And so, being that we were given the opportunity to do whatever you wanted, I was like, look, I've always wanted to do this opening scene from the script. And so I just sort of adapted it into a Halloween theme. And made the opening of what would be a feature, you know, and so, but it could stand alone as its own short. There's a lot more to it in the script, obviously, but it could stand alone as its own short. So I just felt like, look, this is a rare opportunity where I have autonomy and I have freedom and I have resources, not a lot, but, you know, resources to do something. So I really wanted to go all guns blazing and just make something that I've always wanted to make. So I just couldn't pass up the opportunity.
There was so much fake blood. I loved it.
Well, that was the thing, is that, you know, with these movies, it's an opportunity to show different sides of horror. You know, it's like we have plenty of ghost films, or, you know, that's kind of the trend in Hollywood horror right now, is kind of the supernatural film. But, you know, it's like this was an opportunity to, like, well, let's see the other sides of horror that we don't get to see on the big screen so much. And I love, you know, kind of slapstick, as it would be called, you know, the kind of more Raimi, Peter Jackson kind of, you know, method of filmmaking. And I love seeing it. And this just seemed like an opportunity where I could do that. So, you know, but again, I just didn't want to let it pass me by.
Would you say it was easier to go all out in a short as opposed to a feature-length film?
It was easier to get an R rating and making it as a short, because if the feature is, you know, again, that's the opening scene. It goes from there, you know, so the feature, if there ever were a feature, it would be hard to get an R rating, possibly. I'm not sure. I mean, it is kind of goofy and fun, so maybe I could get away with it. So I felt that I had license, as long as I kept it to a short time, that I could go full bore and make it as gory as possible. But no, if ever I got to do the whole feature, it would be a bloodbath. So you know, that would be cool. So yeah.
Oh, it really would. Yeah. I plan on watching this movie every Halloween from here on out.
Oh, that's great.
Is there anything you do every year to complete Halloween?
Well, I mean, I have a lot of traditions. When I was a kid, I grew up in South Pasadena, where they shot the original Halloween. So as a kid, I used to go to the Myers house every year, and then kind of do the opening shot, you know, go to the window and then travel around and then go to the house and stuff like that. So that was always fun. Now I don't know. I mean, I celebrate Halloween in different ways. I've had a weird tradition, and it may even continue this year, that I spend Halloween in different parts of the world. So I've done Halloween in New Orleans, I've done Halloween in Spain, I've done Halloween in Italy. This time, because I'm making another movie, I might be in Mississippi. So yeah, so that's been kind of a new tradition. But Scotland was another one. In fact, two of our filmmakers got married. Neil Marshall and Axel Carolyn got married on Halloween in Scotland in a castle.
Oh, crazy.
That was a pretty memorable one. Yeah, and so, but I will say nobody does it like America, you know. And if I can, I love spending Halloween in Los Angeles with my friends, and I love seeing Danny Elfman, because he's has a long tradition of doing kind of Halloween events, whether it was with his band Oingo Boingo, or now he kind of does these Tim Burton shows. You know, I do like spending a little bit of Halloween time with Danny Elfman. It's always been a tradition since I was a teenager. So those are kind of, you know, my many traditions. And other than that, you know, eat candy and watch horror movies. So, because it's the best time of year. It's the time of year where the rest of the world kind of sees the world and thinks the way you do all year round. So,
yeah.
You know, just for a day, but wonderful.
Are there any films in particular that you like to watch?
You know, I like to vary it up, but you know, Night Before Christmas is great. I like The Crow, funny enough, I think is a good Halloween movie, because it takes place on Halloween. Trick or Treat, I think, is, you know, kind of the I think, look, the two ultimate Halloween movies to me are John Carpenter's Halloween and Mike Dougherty's Trick or Treat. I hope that we can be the opening act for those two movies from now on. So, that would be cool. So.
Absolutely. And you mentioned that you might be in Mississippi this Halloween. Can you elaborate on what you might be doing there?
Yeah, God willing, I'm doing a Dolph Lundgren movie called Don't Kill It, which is sort of an action horror movie, about sort of in the vein of the hit. And I think it's going to be a lot of fun. So fingers crossed it all comes together. I will know very shortly. So, but it's looking that way. So yeah.
Well, I just want to say that everyone at Frightday is very much looking forward to what you do next. When can our listeners watch Tales of Halloween?
It will be available October 16th on VOD and in theaters. It's a limited theatrical run, but we're in about 15, 16 cities. So keep an eye out for it. We're also playing a ton of festivals right now all through October in Knoxville, Tennessee, and Toronto, and I think we just did one in Miami, but I think there's several ones that are happening. So keep an eye out for it. But at the very least, iTunes, Vudu, Xbox, Time Warner, Charter, you name it, on October 16th, you should be able to find it on VOD if it's not at a theater near you. So.
Perfect. Well, thank you so much, Mike, for your time. Hopefully we'll talk again soon.
Thanks so much to you. All right. Have a great day.
Yeah, I'm really excited to talk about this movie. I know we've all seen it already, but we're going to go segment by segment, reviewing each one.
So it's like 10 movies in one.
10 movies. This is going to be a wild, popcorn-filled night.
Plus a wraparound.
And if that wasn't enough for you, next week, we're going to be playing an interview I had with Lucky McKee, another director of Tales of Halloween.
Awesome.
You may know him as the director of The Woman, or May, or
All Cheerleaders Die.
All Cheerleaders Die. It's going to be a great time.
So many treats.
So before we go, I want to read a quick email that we got from a listener named Hugo. He says, "Ahoy, Captain and Cabin Boys.
Ugh.
I know I'm late on this, but I just watched Starry Eyes after you covered it a while ago, and it was right up my alley. Also, I'm sad to say that I missed your Periscope because of time zones, and I was dead asleep. Unfortunately, there was no replay option available. This has happened before when you've Periscoped from the Fofcast account, which is my old podcast. And in case you've purposely removed the replays, I would appreciate it if you didn't in the future so I can enjoy them as well, because he doesn't live in our country.
We're going to Periscope again.
Thanks as always for the great podcast. Looking forward to the next one. If you weren't part of our little Periscope thing, Periscope is a video streaming app.
Spin-off of Twitter? I
Sure.
don't know.
And I think we're going to start doing that more often, so we can talk to you guys before we record the show. We can talk horror, talk monsters,
Monsters,
and ghosts. It should be a good time. Thanks for writing, Hugo. If you have anything to say to us, it's contact@frightday.com. We'd love to hear from you. We'd also like to thank you so much for listening and for your reviews on iTunes. That's honestly the best way you can keep this show going.
Yes.
And if you're feeling extra generous, you can go to shop.frightday.com and pick up a t-shirt or some pins or a deep V.
Oh my gosh. In particular, the awesome Kelly's Cryptid shirt. I mean, I'm just saying.
You can be a co-captain. That hurts me to say. It really
You can be a co-captain.
We're almost ready for a second run of those, aren't we?
Yeah.
They're going real well. I can't wait to get a normal cut of those. My
Well,
chest hair
fine.
is impressive, but it doesn't need to be a daily thing.
Well, I mean, you can get two then.
Disagree.
And you can alternate between the crew and the V.
Or you could just wear one frontwards and one backwards.
Sam, where can we find you on the internet?
At Sam Frightday, or email at sam@frightday.com.
And Kelly?
At Kelly Frightday, or email kelly@frightday.com. Real quick before we go to you, did you know that Matthew Fox has a son named Byron?
I did not.
Now you know.
I'm at Byron McKoy on Twitter. Byron@frightday.com is my email address. And until next week, I'm Byron.
I'm Kelly.
And I'm Sam.
Stay away from troglodytes.